Hey, this is Kathy from Kathy Cooks For You, and welcome back to my kitchen. I have an amazing sourdough pasta recipe for you to try, and it is quick and easy, and you can either put it in the fridge, you can use it right away, or put it in the freezer. They are spectacular noodles that you will love. And you get a bonus video at the end that teaches you how to make a beef stroganoff that is super quick and easy, made with ground beef, and goes so well with the sourdough pasta. So please stay tuned. And I would love it if you would support me by subscribing below and giving me a thumbs up or comment. Thanks. We are starting with 2.5 cups of flour. I'm using a premium pasta flour. I've never used it before. The only reason why I bought it was because it was during COVID and there were no other choices. I'm putting this pasta into my bowl. Normally, I would use an all-purpose flour. Now add 1 cup of sourdough discard, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, 3 eggs. Here you'll only see me putting in 2, but I add a 3rd egg, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I actually forgot the salt and it was no big deal. So if you have a low salt diet, omit the salt. It'll still taste good. This starts to get a little hard to mix, so I started using my hand. Somewhere around this point, I decide I need an extra egg. It was a little dry. Now, did I go off some recipe for this? Not really. I was making this up as I went along. I have made so many dumplings in my day that I pretty much know what pasta dough is supposed to feel like, and this was just a little dry to me. We are going to turn this dough out now and knead for 2 minutes. It's going to get soft and smooth and supple. It actually was a very beautiful dough to work with. It was so soft. Then we are going to just form this into a nice ball. I tested just to see how springy it is. It has a little spring. Oh, it was so soft. Lovely. We're going to put this in a bowl that's sprayed with some oil. And then we're going to cover it and we're going to let this sit. Okay, we made that pasta. It sat out for 5 hours on my counter. Then I decided, you know what? I don't want to make this today. I'm going to put it in the fridge and make it tomorrow. So then it sat in the counter from like 5 p.m. all the way until this morning. And then it sat out on my counter again. And what I was doing in all this time, the flavors were fermenting, the yeast was working, the yeast was, eating some of this flour, making lots of bubbles and creating more deliciousness. Now, if I would have cooked with it after 5 hours, it still would have been great pasta. But now we have a fermented sourdough pasta. And remember how small it was? Now it's huge. It's nice that it sat for quite some time before I'm rolling it out because now it's nice and room temperature. We have our beautiful dough here. We have some flour to work with. Put that flour down. You can be generous. Now we're going to take this out. Oh, it's beautiful. Nice and full of life and vitality. Now remember, I did not use this great pasta dough before, or pasta flour. Before, I used just regular flour. I have never used pasta flour to make pasta. Why? Because I didn't even know it existed. I grew up making pasta with my mom, and we just always used all-purpose flour. But it is beautiful how yellow it is compared to regular flour. Okay. So let's get rolling on this and put a little flour on top. This rolling pin really doesn't accept the flour like a wooden one. Wow, this is beautiful. I'm gonna have to move the camera stand. This is gonna serve 4 to 6 people. Gosh, this is so tiny, can I even see it? It's 2 feet by 16.5 inches. All right, you're thinking, oh gosh, there's so much more to do. There isn't. There is not much more to do. We're gonna sprinkle a generous portion on this. You're gonna be like, what? Why are you doing that? Because the way I was taught, now you could just cut these, okay? But the way I was taught was to roll it. Now it has to be very, you may need to go under here, get more flour on both sides. Okay, yeah, get this all back and stretched out. And so we're gonna roll it. Rolling pasta? Who rolls pasta? I do, that's who. Okay, no sealing, nothing. And we're just going to cut pasta. And then we will undo them all and let them sit out to dry. So you cut them as thick as you'd like them. Oh, this smells so good, guys. Okay, so we have our delicious pasta all cut. And now all we're gonna do is unravel these. If they stick a little, just unravel them. And we have this pan here. We're gonna put a little flour in our pan, just so they don't stick. And then we're just gonna put these on here. They don't, I mean, if you wanna be all nice and, have them look pretty and, put them on there just like that, you can. Or you can have them in a jumbled mess as long as there's flour in between. So we just peel them or we just unravel them. You are gonna have a recipe. There's a beef stroganoff recipe, an easy weeknight beef stroganoff recipe where I use these. Oh my goodness, the kids absolutely loved it. My husband loved it. I loved it. If you're noticing that, they're a little sticky, just sprinkle a little flour on them right now. And we just keep doing this action until we have them all done. These cook as a regular noodle would. They won't take as long to cook because they're already full of moisture. You're basically cooking the egg, whereas with regular noodles, you are basically reconstituting them. And these you don't have to reconstitute. They're already nice and moist. And if you would like, you can put these in the fridge in a sealed container, make sure they're very floured, and use them the following day. You can, after they're very well floured, you can put them in the freezer. I have plenty of other sourdough recipes for you. Check out my sourdough playlist. You guys will love it. I also have weeknight playlist for you for meals, a snack playlist, desserts, holiday. So check them all out. And now on to the beef stroganoff. Okay, I am frying up 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of ground beef with 1 medium to large onion. That depends on you. Once our ground beef is browned, I'm adding mushrooms and summer squash. Now, do people add these vegetables? Not always. I always have to add vegetables in. We're going to put 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire in. If you love Worcestershire, put 2 in. We're going to put a teaspoon of paprika and then 2 scoops of my minced garlic that you should start making. We're going to get this all nice and blended together and let those vegetables cook down a bit. I forgot to add a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard there. If you don't have mustard, it's fine. Dried mustard is what I put in. So I'm blending that in there. Now I'm putting in 3 tablespoons of extra fine flour. I use the extra fine because I could just stir it right in and it doesn't get lumpy like if you use regular flour and how you have to blend it with a liquid first. Okay, now for beef broth. I'm using this Maggi beef granule flakes and mixed it with 4 cups of water. Now, normally I use a much higher end organic beef base, but I didn't have any and my mom had given me this, so I used it. So we are going to let that come to a boil. Then we're adding a 1/2 package of cream cheese and about a 1/2 cup of sour cream. Now, if you want it super creamy, add more of both, add more of one or the other. That's fine. Let's get this all blended together, and then we're going to do the taste test. More pepper. That's good. More pepper, and it's tasty. time to cook the pasta. Look at how beautiful this pasta is. It's long, gorgeous yellow ribbons. Also, notice how it sinks to the bottom. That's what it's supposed to do. We're going to give it a nice toss in our salted water, and then eventually it's going to all pop to the top like that. That's when you know you're about done. So now's the time that you want to try it. You don't want it to, when you bite into it, you don't want to see any white in the center or any dry parts in the center. Now, you know I couldn't leave it without throwing in some greens and a handful of chopped parsley. I put the lid on this and let those greens steam a little bit, and then I stir it all up, and oh man. Now it's time to incorporate our pasta. Wow, this was such an incredible, easy weeknight meal. I can't wait for you guys to try it. I hope you enjoyed the sourdough pasta and this beef stroganoff recipe. They were absolutely spectacular. My family loved it, and so will yours.